What's up? It's Zay. Um, I'm kind of recording this video as just a brain dump of some thoughts that I had, and I wanted to get something on film before I lost these thoughts. So hopefully, what I'm about to say could help at least one coach, practitioner, athlete, or just average gym goer that's out there. And what's been on my mind is the power of intent with regards to training and/or coaching. Um, Now, what is the power of intent? Then power of intent, all this means is how are you specifically thinking about the task that you're doing, and how the power of intent, like having a specific mindset or approach towards what it is you want to accomplish in anything, could pretty much make any exercise or any movement more than what meets the eye. In essence, an intent behind a movement could pretty much make any exercise a full body exercise. And the reason why I brought this up is because some people always ask, hey, what does this exercise work on? Or what does this exercise do? And my answer usually is, well, it depends. So for example, if I were to do this movement here, which is just a simple lateral lunge, and if I were to ask somebody, hey, what is this working? Average person might say, it's working your groin, or it's working your quad, it's working the adductor of the moving leg, which is partly true, but that might not be all that this exercise does. So if I have a certain intent that, hey, I want to make sure that I could not only feel my adductors, but I want to feel my backside glute, I want to feel my abs, I want to, if I have a weight in my hand, I want to be able to protract my shoulders and feel my lats, maybe feel my serratus. That way I can get more out of this exercise, or I'm focusing on having a tripod foot stance so that I'm working on ankle stability and proprioception at the same time. So my intent behind what I'm doing is more specific to the task in which I want to accomplish. Same thing, another example, if we did, let's say, a split stance cable row, for example, and I have an athlete or a client that says, hey, one of my goals is to get a bigger butt, then within this movement, we can say, all right, I want your intent to be not only rowing really, really well, but feeling your glute the whole entire time. So now with empowering the people I work with to shift their perspective around the intent that they want to have with this given movement, I completely change their outlook and the task at which is at hand. So now the task doesn't just become, row and feel my back, or lateral lunge and feel my groin. The task is now I have to feel my glute, I have to feel other things. And the power of intent doesn't always have to be as internal. I guess what I'm trying to say is the power of intent allows other people to build context for what it is they want to do. And what I mean by this is, regardless of whether or not you work with athletes, general population people who are returning from injuries, so on and so forth, training should be giving people movement solutions for life. All right, as coaches, we are facilitating an environment, a controlled environment, to give people movement solutions or help them build context within movement solutions. And all building context means is we're allowing people to connect the dots themselves. So there eventually, hopefully, might see how a lateral lunge or a row might relate to something they do on the sports field, or might relate to something that they do in the house, whether it's picking up their child or tying their shoe or taking something out of the cabinet, or lifting groceries to the house. We're facilitating an environment, a controlled environment at that is helping people build context and giving them movement solutions for what is a more dynamic environment called life. So if we shift the power of it, if we allow people and empower them to have a greater intent behind what it is they're doing, then they could accomplish more with the task that is at hand. And so, in the simplest terms as I could put it, if you have a more specific intent behind your task, you may be able to do more than what the exercise just looks as if it's achieving on the surface. With the examples I gave with a lateral lunge or a split squat, if you shift your intent, you might be able to accomplish more than what the exercise just looks like it's set to accomplish. So I know my thoughts are kind of all over the place. That's been my brain dump for what I think the power of intent is, and how us as coaches, athletes, parents, practitioners, or whatever could be using these movements to help build context for whatever it is that this person has a goal for. And hopefully that they can use that power of intent to yield better results for whatever it is that they have sought out for. So hopefully that helps.